Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a simple question. Can your life really change in 6 months? The answer is absolutely, if you stop dreaming and start moving. I was never the smartest person in my class. I failed many times, but one thing I did, I kept learning, I kept trying, and I learned to make the most of the small things. And that's how life changes, not with miracles, but with small, consistent actions. So let me share with you 6 simple things you can do in the next 6 months that can truly transform your life. Not just your career or your bank account, your mindset, your confidence, your future. Most people don't begin, not because they don't have dreams, but because they think they don't have enough. They say, if only I had more money, more time, more experience, more connections. But life doesn't wait for more. It rewards people who move with what they already have. I've seen too many young people hesitate at the starting line. They say, I need a better laptop before I start a business, or I need to take 5 more courses before I'm ready to launch, or I need a mentor before I begin. But let me ask you, what did Steve Jobs have when he started? What did I have when I started Alibaba? We didn't have money. We didn't have tech knowledge. We didn't even have confidence. But we had an idea. We had each other, and we had courage. Don't look down on small things. A phone with internet, a free online course, a friend who supports you, an hour before bedtime. These are your tools. You may think they are not enough, but in reality, they are more than enough to begin. The world has changed. You don't need a factory to start a company. You don't need an MBA to learn business. You don't even need an office. What you need is movement. When I started, I had no background in technology. I couldn't write code. I didn't understand servers. I didn't know how to raise money, but I knew how to talk. I knew how to build trust. I knew how to sell a vision, even if I didn't have all the pieces yet. So I started with that. I gathered a group of people who were smarter than me. I told them the dream, and we started working. Not perfectly, not with everything we needed, but we worked anyway. That's what most people don't realize. Perfection is the enemy of progress. If you wait for the perfect conditions, the perfect time, the perfect opportunity, you will still be waiting 10 years from now. But the people who succeed, they just begin. They begin with what they know, who they know, and what they can reach right now. They make progress, and progress opens new doors. You have something right now that can change your life. Maybe it's your mindset. Maybe it's a notebook. Maybe it's 30 minutes of quiet time. Maybe it's your story. But I promise you, you have something. The problem is not the size of your resources. It's the size of your fear. People don't lack tools. They lack belief. Sometimes we think, but what if I fail? Let me tell you, you will. Not everything will work. But that's not a reason to wait. That's a reason to begin faster. The sooner you fail, the sooner you learn, and the sooner you grow. Waiting does not protect you from failure. It only delays your lessons. And don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. Don't look at someone with 100 employees, 10 years of experience, and millions of followers and say, I can't compete with that. Of course you can't. Not today. But you're not supposed to. You're supposed to start. Every master was once a beginner. Every big company was once a crazy idea. Every expert was once confused, but they began. They didn't wait to become ready. They became ready by starting. You see, the people who make it, they don't have more luck. They just take more chances. They don't have more talent. They just trust what they have, even if it's small. They say, this is what I've got. Let me make it work. So what do you have right now? Not what you wish you had. Not what you hope to get later. What do you have today in your hands, in your head, in your heart? That's where your journey begins. Not in some perfect future, but right here, right now, with the tools already in your pocket. Today, too many people are chasing success without understanding usefulness. Everyone wants to be successful, famous, rich, but very few ask themselves the most important question, how can I be useful? If you're not useful to others, why should they pay you? Why should they follow you? Why should they work with you? It all starts with value, and value begins with skill. I'm not talking about learning everything. I'm talking about learning one thing that makes people say, I need this person. Just one, not 10, not 100. One skill. One thing you can do better than most. one ability that helps people solve a real problem. That's how you build your place in the world, not by being everything, but by being something clear and helpful. When I started Alibaba, I didn't know how to build a website. I didn't know how to code. I didn't even understand the internet fully, but I knew how to communicate. I knew how to explain things clearly. I knew how to sell an idea. That was my one skill. That's what made me useful, not to the world at first, but to the few people around me, and that was enough to get started. You don't need to be the best. You need to be good enough to help someone. Learn one skill that solves a problem. It can be writing, speaking, designing, coding, selling, organizing, fixing, teaching, anything. Just make sure it's something that creates impact for others. People don't care how many certificates you have. They care whether you can help them with something they care about. If you can do that, you are valuable. Many people spend years chasing passion. They say, I'm not passionate about this skill. Let me tell you something honest. Passion comes after skill, not before. When you become good at something, when people thank you, when opportunities open up because of your ability, that's when you start to feel passion. So don't wait to feel inspired. Get good at something first, and inspiration will follow. The world is full of noise. Everyone is online, talking, scrolling, complaining, but the ones who move forward are the ones who are doing. And to do something well, you need a skill. You need to be able to say, this is what I bring to the table. If you can't answer that, then the first thing you need to do is find that skill and sharpen it like a knife. Make it strong, make it sharp, make it simple and clear. You don't need a university degree to learn a skill today. You have YouTube, you have Google, you have free online platforms. There is no excuse. The tools are there. The only difference is between people who use them and people who just scroll past them. Every day you don't practice a skill is a day you miss an opportunity, because the future will belong to those who can do something real, not talkers, doers, builders, problem solvers. And remember, it's not about impressing people, it's about serving people. The skill you choose should not be about making you look good. It should be about helping others do something better. That's how you become useful. That's how you become needed. When people think, I can't do this without you, then you've made yourself valuable. And once you're valuable, the money, the respect, the opportunities, they all come later. You don't need to have a perfect plan. You just need to start. Pick one thing, not 10 things. Don't jump from one course to another every week. Focus, go deep, spend 30 minutes a day, every day for 6 months, and see how far it takes you. Because it's not talent that creates success. It's usefulness. And usefulness is built by mastering one real skill that people can count on when it matters. Many people think working hard means sleeping less, eating fast, and always being busy. They think success is about hustle, working 20 hours a day, sacrificing weekends, missing birthdays, skipping rest. But that's not smart. That's not sustainable. Working hard is important, yes, but it's not about burning out. It's about using your energy wisely. When I was young, I believed in hard work. I still do. But I've also learned that hard work without direction is just motion, not progress. And hard work without energy is dangerous. You cannot give your best if you are always tired. You cannot make clear decisions if your mind is always cloudy. Working hard is not about being busy. It's about being effective. It's not how long you work. It's how well you work when you do. Some people are proud to say, I only sleep 4 hours a night. I ask, why? What did you create with the other 20 hours? If you are not focused, not calm, not sharp, those extra hours mean nothing. What's the point of being awake if your brain is asleep? Your value doesn't come from exhaustion. It comes from clarity, from good judgment, from making smart moves at the right time. I've seen many entrepreneurs who start strong. They push hard in the first month, no breaks, no balance, and then after 3 months, they collapse. Their health suffers, their relationships break, their creativity dies. Why? Because they confused intensity with discipline. Working hard doesn't mean killing yourself. It means respecting your energy like it's your most precious resource, because it is. Think of yourself like a phone. If you never recharge, what happens? The apps don't run. The screen freezes. Eventually it shuts down. You are the same. You need to recharge physically, mentally, emotionally. You need sleep. You need silence. You need time away from the noise. That's not laziness. That's maintenance. That's what allows you to show up strong every day. go to bed late, take calls at all hours. But I learned quickly, if I'm not well, the company is not well. If I'm tired, my team feels it. If I'm stressed, I make poor decisions. So I began to respect my energy. I started saying no to unnecessary meetings. I took time to walk, to read, to think. And the more I did that, the better I became at solving real problems. Success is not about who works the longest hours. It's about who lasts. And to last, you need to manage your energy like a professional. Not just your physical energy, but your emotional energy too. If you are always around negative people, always under pressure, always angry or afraid, your energy drains faster than you realize. You must protect your mindset like you protect your wallet. Guard your focus like you guard your passwords. Your attention is your power. Don't waste it on noise. This doesn't mean take it easy. No, it means be smart, be deliberate, work hard during your hours of focus, truly work. No distractions, no half effort, then disconnect. Rest with purpose. Move your body. Eat well. Sleep deeply. Think like an athlete. An athlete doesn't train 24 hours a day. They train, then recover, then train again. That's how they grow stronger, faster, sharper. You need the same cycle. Effort and recovery, drive and renewal, push and pause. It's easy to glorify being busy, but being busy is not the same as being productive. Real work happens when you're present, not when you're overwhelmed. So learn to listen to your body. Learn to notice when your mind is tired. Take breaks before you crash. Say no before you're stretched thin. Be strict with your time, but generous with your energy when it counts. So many people spend their lives thinking, planning, dreaming, but they never build. They talk about their ideas, they imagine their goals, they write long to-do lists, but nothing gets created. No action, no product, no real progress. You can read all the books, take all the courses, watch all the videos, but until you build something with your own hands, nothing really changes. You don't need to build a company on day one. You don't need to create the next big invention. Just build something, a blog, a YouTube channel, a small business, a portfolio, a simple app, a website, an Instagram page that helps people. It doesn't matter how small it is. What matters is that it becomes real, something you can touch, something people can use, something you can show and say, I made this. People often ask, how do I build confidence? I tell them, confidence comes from creation. When you take something that only existed in your mind and you bring it into the world, you begin to believe in yourself. You don't need applause. You don't need permission. You need to see proof that you can take an idea and turn it into something that lives outside of your head. That's where belief is born, not in theory, but in action. In the early days of my journey, I didn't have much, but I built. I built small websites. I built presentations. I built teams. I built trust. Every little thing I built gave me more energy to keep going. Even when I failed, and I failed many times, the process of building gave me strength. It taught me what worked and what didn't. It taught me who I was and who I was not. Because when you build, you learn by doing, and that's the fastest way to grow. You see, most people are stuck because they want to build something perfect. They want to have the best logo, the perfect launch, the flawless product. But perfection is not the goal, what progress is. You don't need to build the final version on the first try. You just need to begin. You can improve later, you can upgrade later, but start now. Start with what you know. Start with what you have. Start with who you are today. There's something magical that happens when you finish something, even something small. Maybe it's just a one-page website. Maybe it's a short ebook. Maybe it's your first online store. But when it's done, when it exists, you gain momentum. You prove to yourself that you are not just a consumer, you are a creator. You stop saying someday and start saying, I already did this and now I can do more. And don't wait for other people to join you. If nobody supports your idea, build anyway. If nobody claps for you, build anyway. The beginning is always quiet. You don't build for fame and you build for growth. You build to get better. You build to learn. The people who win are not the ones with the loudest dreams. They're the ones with the most finished work. That's what separates the talkers from the doers. Even if you fail, even if nobody buys it, even if it goes unnoticed, it's still a win. Because now you've gained experience. Now you have a story. Now you know more than the person who's still thinking, still planning, still doubting. And the next thing you build will be stronger, faster, better, because you built the first one. So many doors open when you create something. People take you more seriously. Opportunities find you. You attract collaborators. You gain clarity, not because you said the right things, but because you've done something, because you've shown the world and yourself that you're willing to take your ideas seriously enough to turn them into reality. Many people today are following the wrong people. They scroll through social media, watching billionaires on yachts, influencers in luxury suits, motivational speakers on big stages. They follow celebrities and think, this is success. But let me tell you something. Watching success is not the same as learning how to build it. You don't need another role model to admire. You need a mentor who can actually guide you through the dirt. When I was younger, I didn't need someone rich and famous to inspire me. I needed someone who could sit with me even for 5 minutes and say, don't make that mistake again. Do this instead. That kind of advice is more valuable than 1,000 YouTube videos full of motivational quotes. Because mentorship is not about inspiration, it's about instruction. You see, celebrities are easy to admire. They look successful. They sound successful. They show you their cars, their houses, their perfect lives. But you don't know what's real. You don't know what's fake. You don't know how they started, or what struggles they hid, or what shortcuts they took. You're chasing a story, not a system, and that can make you feel worse, because the more you watch them, the more you think, why am I not there yet? But a mentor, a real mentor, they are close to you. Maybe they're not famous. Maybe they don't have 1 million followers, but they've walked the path you're trying to walk. They've made mistakes you haven't made yet. They've learned things the hard way, and now they can help you avoid those same holes in the road. They don't care about showing off. They care about helping you grow. Sometimes your mentor isn't older than you. Sometimes they're just 1 or 2 steps ahead. That's enough. Don't wait to be mentored by someone at the top. Look for people who are reachable, who are still close to the ground, who remember the struggle. They are often the best teachers, not because they're perfect, but because they still remember what it feels like to be lost. And here's another truth. Mentorship is not always formal. It's not always a big program or a coaching contract. Sometimes mentorship happens in small conversations, a lunch with a manager, a message from someone who's done what you're trying to do, a book written by a real entrepreneur who tells you the truth, not just the highlights. Don't wait for a perfect mentor. Be humble enough to learn from anyone who knows more than you. But don't confuse mentorship with entertainment. Just because someone is popular doesn't mean they can help you. Just because someone is loud doesn't mean they are wise. Don't follow people because they are visible. Follow them because they are valuable to your journey. A mentor doesn't make you feel jealous. A mentor makes you feel capable. They give you tools, not envy. And when you find someone who can teach you, listen. Don't just ask them, how can I be successful? That's too vague. Ask better questions. How did you solve this problem? What would you do if you were me? What's the one mistake I should avoid? Ask with humility, respect their time, apply what they say, show results. That's how mentorship grows, not through flattery, but through action. Also, be ready to outgrow mentors. One day, the person who helped you get from level 1 to level 3 may not be able to take you to level 10. That's okay. That's growth. Keep learning. Keep evolving. And when you reach a point where you have something to teach, become a mentor yourself. Because the world doesn't need more followers. It needs more people willing to pass on what they've learned honestly, patiently, quietly, with the same spirit that helped them rise. Success is not a one-time explosion. It's not a lottery ticket, not a magical breakthrough. Real success is the result of small actions, repeated with discipline, improved with reflection. Most people focus on speed. How fast can I get there? But the smart ones focus on direction. Am I even going the right way? That's where reflection comes in. If you never stop to look at what you're doing, you'll keep repeating the same mistakes. You'll work hard but stay stuck. You'll be busy but not effective. That's why one of the most powerful habits you can develop is to pause once a week and ask yourself, what did I do? What did I learn? What can I do better? You don't need a fancy journal, and you don't need an app. You just need 30 quiet minutes. Maybe on Sunday night, maybe early Monday morning. Sit down. No phone, no distractions. Just you and your thoughts. Ask yourself the hard questions. Be honest. Not emotional, honest. Look at your actions like an outsider. What worked? What didn't? What patterns do you see? The goal is not to judge yourself. The goal is to understand yourself. Because when you understand what's really happening in your life, you gain control. You stop reacting. You start improving. It's not about doing more. It's about doing better. People often ask me, how do I become more productive? So my answer is simple. Reflect more. Because when you reflect, you notice the wasted time. You see the conversations that drained you, the projects that went nowhere, the habits that held you back. You realize where your energy is going, and then slowly you begin to redirect it. Don't wait until the end of the year to reflect. That's too long. By then, you've already forgotten what happened in February. You've already lost 11 months. Instead, make it a weekly habit. At the end of each week, ask yourself 3 simple questions. What did I do well this week? What did I do poorly? What can I do differently next week? If you do this every week for 6 months, you will be a different person. Not because you made one giant leap, but because you took 26 small steps, each one slightly better than the last. That's how real change happens. Quietly, gradually, consistently. And then comes the daily part. If weekly reflection is the map, daily improvement is the walk. Every day you apply one small change from your reflection, just one. You don't try to fix everything at once. You focus. Maybe today you respond to emails faster. Maybe tomorrow you spend 10 more minutes on deep work. Maybe the day after you listen more carefully in meetings. Tiny shifts, but when added up, they compound. Improvement is not always exciting. Sometimes it's boring. Sometimes it feels like nothing is changing. But if you trust the process, you'll look back one day and realize you are sharper, faster, calmer, more focused, not because of luck, because of deliberate adjustment. I know people who work hard, but they never grow because they never stop to ask why they're doing what they're doing. They just keep running. And when you run without thinking, you end up tired, not successful. Reflection gives your effort a direction. It turns motion into progress. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to win every day. But if you reflect weekly and improve daily, you will always be ahead of the people who just work harder without thinking smarter. It's not about avoiding mistakes. It's about noticing them quickly, adjusting and trying again with better eyes, better habits, better focus. That's how you move from where you are to where you want to be. That's how growth becomes a system, not a wish. In just 6 months, you can completely reshape your life, not by chasing perfection, but by committing to progress. Start with what you have. Learn one valuable skill. Work hard, but protect your energy. Build something real, no matter how small. Find mentors who guide, not impress. Reflect weekly, improve daily. These actions may seem simple, but done consistently, they create unstoppable momentum. Success doesn't belong to the lucky. It belongs to those who move with clarity, discipline, and heart. 6 months of focused action can do more than 6 years of wandering. The time to start is now.